All right, everyone, welcome. We'll go ahead and get the program started, please. Welcome. My name is Stephanie Hansen. I'm a Douglas County Court Judge and your current Omaha Bar Association President. As such, I officially call this meeting to order. On behalf of the Bar Association, I welcome each and every one of you to the 2022 Omaha Law Day Lunch. We are so excited to be back in person after 2 years of either not having one or doing it online. So we're very excited and are happy to welcome you all in person here today. Law Day is a chance for the legal community to come together to celebrate the good works of those in the legal profession and to remember the importance of the rule of law in our society and our daily work, and to reach out to the young people in our community, our future lawyers, judges, and legal professionals. Thank you all for being a part of Law Day and inspiring the young people that are here today. I am now going to turn it over to Doug Law, our Law Day co-chair. And I forgot, you need to welcome our honored guests. We've got from the United States District Court, Judge Susan Bezos. Also from the United States District Court, Judge Michael Nelson. From the Douglas County District Bench, we have Judge James Masteller, Judge Kimberly Pankinen, retired Judge Patricia Lamberty. We've got Judge Leanne Serb, retired Judge Mary Gilbride from the 5th Judicial District, Judge Daniel Frederick from the Workers' Comp Court, and Judge Julie Martin from the Workmen's Comp Court. And hopefully I haven't missed anyone, but welcome and thank you for being with us. All right, now I turn it over to you, Doug.
Thank you, Judge Hansen. First of all, before we go any further, normally we have a pastor come up and do an opening prayer, but I think what we're going to do here, just in light of the things that are going on in the world and Ukraine especially, we're just going to have just a short moment of silence and reflection. Okay, thank you very much. So first of all, keep eating. I'm going to start the program now. We've got a full slate of activities here. One thing we try to do is be very respectful of your time, and so we know that in order to get all the awards and presentations that we have here completed, we need you to enjoy yourself and eat and be done on a reasonable time. So for those of you that have not met me, my name is Doug Law. I'm an energy lawyer with Black Hills Energy. I'm one of the co-chairs for the Law Day, Omaha Law Day for the 2022. Unfortunately, our other co-chair, John Menicucci, was called to duty by his employer, and as happens from time to time, as lawyers know, and so he can't be with us today. So I'm filling in for some of what his is. First of all, I'd like to say it's glad to see everybody in person again. We haven't had this event in live for a couple of years, so it's also good to see your smiling faces. And for those of you who aren't comfortable and want to guard against the next variant of COVID, feel free to do so at your own protection. And so, when you don't have Law Day for a couple of years, you just look around, you see what happens. All hell breaks loose in the world. If you think about it, in 1959, when they started Law Day in America, the whole purpose was to confront the aggression of the Soviet Union and the expansion of communism. So when you look around the world events today and you see in 2022, we're still confronting the expansion of communism. We're looking at Russia invading Ukraine and maybe eyeing other countries. So, the purpose of why Law Day was started at the very beginning is still relevant today, and so we will do our part to make sure that we will combat communism where we see it. This year's Law Day theme is Toward a More Perfect Union, the Constitution in Times of Change. So this is the day that America sets out to celebrate Law Day, and we enjoy the blessings of our Constitution. And after we're done here today, I hope everybody in our legal community will go out and try to make this a more perfect place to live. So as you can see on our program, we have several different awards and contest winners to recognize and give them an award today. So if you haven't been, since we haven't had this for a couple of years, I thought it might be appropriate to have a couple of ground rules as we go through the presentations. First of all, it's unfortunate that John Manacucci isn't here because you might know he's losing some of his hair, but he wanted me to inform us that there will be no ball jokes again this year. So that ball humor's out. So rule number 1, no ball jokes. Secondly, for our 5th grade and 8th grade contest winners, or for those of you who have never been to one of our Law Day luncheons, if you think this Law Day luncheon is like the Academy Awards, and you can act like Will Smith, and let me strongly advise you against it. Because I can almost guarantee if you slap a judge, you will not pass go, you will not receive $200, and you'll probably go straight to jail. So, and besides that, if you think about it, the ripple effect that sort of a slap would have in a room full of lawyers. I mean, there's just how many lawsuits would that start? And then I know that we don't want anyone to engage in a slip and fall with the shower business cards that may be coming up from the plaintiff and the defense bars due to that. So keep your second rule is no slapping. So for those of you who've been here before, you know that we have a lot of clapping in award presentations, but we need to also keep it moving so that we can get through everything today. So if you're an award presenter or award recipient, we want to honor and recognize your achievements and your talents and your success and services. And for the rest of us, what we want you to do is warm up your hands for a lot of clapping. So rule number 3 is a lot of clapping. Still no slapping, but let's keep it moving. Finally, on rule number 4, let's have fun. I mean, this day is a day for celebration. It's a day for fun. It's a time when we recognize the blessings that we have here in America. We can just turn on our TV screens and just see how other countries don't enjoy the same types of freedoms that our Constitution provides to us. We know that communism isn't going away, but then again, neither are we. So let's have fun. Okay, with that, let me start with the introductions of those who are sitting at the head table here today. To my immediate right here is Honorable Stephanie Hansen, our OBA president. Next to her is Rebecca Begley, our guest speaker for the 2022 Law Day. Next to her is Amy Longo from Gelic Jones, and Amy will present the Alfred G. Gelic Lawyer Referral Service Award. And next is Jennifer Peterson from Warner Enterprises, who will present the Lori Smith Camp Integrity and Service Award. Next to Jennifer is Andrea Bell, for the 5th grade poster contest. And then John Manacucci's not here. And finally, we have Professor Steve Severson from Creighton Law, who's one of the recipients for the 2022 Robert Spire Public Service Awards. So with that, can I get a round of applause for the head table? So every year, Dave Summers goes out of his way to make our jobs easier, which we appreciate, Dave. But there are a number of people on the Law Day Committee that we would like to recognize. So first of all, we have Tom Tilden, Sandy Armstrong, Jamie Hermison, Linda Henningsen, myself, John Manacucci, Ann Miller, Amber Roberts, Jean Reeder, Larry Rowland, Linda Flacek, and Cameron Hassan. So if you are any of you Law Day Committee members, if you're here, please stand up and be recognized. And for everybody else, can we give them a round of applause? And no Law Day would be complete if we didn't recognize elected officials, whether you're a past elected official, a current one, or you're running for office. Would you stand up and be recognized? And would the rest of us give them a round of applause? The other thing that wouldn't be possible today is if we didn't thank our table sponsors. On the back of your program, we've got a list of them. I'll just run through them real quickly here. We have the Dornan Law Team, Deb Gill, the Croker Huck Firm, the Koenig Dunn Firm, Legal Aid of Nebraska, McGrath North, and Nebraska Paralegal Association. So can we give those organizations a round of applause? We'd also like to do a special thank you to the Daily Record and Jason Huff for their work on producing the Law Day edition of for the Daily Record. And each year I say this, but I mean it. If you haven't read those in the past, you should read this year's and go through it, because there's always a number of articles that are right on point with our Law Day theme. So can we get a round of applause for the Daily Record in there too? Couple more thank yous here. We'd also like to thank Donna Birkby, Jean Reeder, Linda Henningsen, Sherry Mitchell, and Bonnie Knudsen for taking and processing everybody into this event. And just want to remind all the lawyers in the room that you can get an hour of CLE today by attending. So if you haven't signed in, make sure you do so. And secondly, if you have some partners back at your workplace that couldn't make it today, but would like to get some CLE, you remind them they can go online and look at that and get it there. And if you're a member, it's free. If you're a non-member, it's only $10. So take advantage of that. So finally, I said this before and I'll say it again, Dave, thank you again for organizing everything here today and for all of our events. We're lucky to have you as our leader. And so with that, I'd like to have us all give you a quick round of applause for all the service you provide to our organization. So here's the part where I would normally turn over the award presentation to John Menicucci. So he can't make it, so we're going to start with our awards here. And you guys can please continue eating, and we'll just kind of move through this one by one. First of all, a couple of events that we normally do, which we were unable to do, is the mock trial. We normally set this up for 4th and 5th graders, but for the third year in a row, we weren't able to conduct a mock trial. But we normally get, a prominent lawyer and a prominent defense lawyer, and then a judge to go to the federal courthouse. And in the past, we've had, such hard-hitting trials like Humpty Dumpty versus the King and his men, and Goldilocks and the Three Bears. And so some of the mock trials that you can get for Law Day, we've done those at the federal courthouse. And we hope to do that again next year. The second program that has been paused for the last 2 or 3 years is the Lawyers in the Classroom project. In part, we've paused it because of COVID, and then the schools really didn't want people coming in from the outside. But we do have some books that we had obtained for the 19th Amendment in the Constitution, which Judge Smithcamp had promoted and sponsored when she was still with us. And we plan on going forward with that, and then also looking for some additional books that we're going to look at, so that when the lawyers actually go back out into the classrooms, that we'll have some books to take with them, and that's going to be working toward next year to get back into the classrooms. So at this point, we're going to start with the poster contest winners. And with that, I'd like to introduce Andrea Bell, who's going to do the presentations. And then when she calls up the winners, then we'll come over here, and Judge Hanson, our OBA president, will present the award to you, and then we'll also take a photo op at that same time. So, go ahead.
Thank you. Can everybody hear me? I'm kind of short. Well, this year, the poster contest was open to 5th graders across the Omaha metro area, and we had several entries. I'm with the Nebraska Paralegal Association, and we've been partnering with the Omaha Bar Association for many years for the Law Day poster contest, and we were very excited to do it again this year. This year's theme went along with the working toward a more perfect union, the Constitution, and times have changed. So the 5th graders had to use their creativity to kind of show how that has transpired since the inception of our Constitution. And they did an awesome job. It was really hard to kind of pinpoint the winners. And so I want to give a thank you to our judges from Barrett Home, QTech Rock, and Burlington Capital for taking their time out from their day to pick up our top 3 poster winners. The prizes this year are $125 and a 1-year family membership to the Durham Museum for first place, including having their poster displayed on a billboard near 84th and L Street. Second place will receive $100, and third place gets $75. So like you said, when we announce our winners, we want them to come up and have their picture taken, and they kind of hang tight for a group picture after everyone has received their prize. We'll start with our third place winner, Bella Nesselroth of St. Bernadette, and her teacher, Larry Anderson. She. Second place winner is Shreya Alam of Black Elk Elementary and her teacher, Kelly Randalls Coleman. And finally, our first place winner is Elliot Hinkle of Anchor Point Elementary and his teacher, Kathleen Canyon. Can we have all our winners back up for one group photo? Yeah. Yes, Shreya, Bella, one quick photo with Judge Hanson. A big congratulations to all our winners, and we look forward to next year.
Thank you, Andrea. Before we get into the essay contest, I just noticed that we got our Nebraska State Bar President Bill Mueller and Liz Neely, our Executive Director of State Bar, and I just want to give them a shout out. We appreciate Omaha Bar having a great relationship with that organization, so can we give those two a round of applause, please? All right, here we are with our essay contest winners. Once again, we hold a citywide essay contest for 8th grade students, asking them to write a short essay on this year's Law Day topic. So thank you to Scott Stewart and Dave Summers for coordinating the contest this year, and Jeff Wishin for leading the judging of the essays. Now, when I announce you with our 3 essay contest winners, please come forward. First of all, our third place winner is Cooper Towles of Cody Redfield's classroom at La Vista Middle School. Cooper's parents, Jamie and Susan, are both here today, so Cooper will receive $125 for his third place finish. Cooper's here, you can come on up. Our second place winner is Anurag Ganti of Kiewit Middle School. As so it happens, Anurag is a student of Rebecca Begley, our special guest speaker today, and Anurag's mother, Dr. Kiti Tendikar, is with us today. Anurag will receive a check from OBA for $150 for his second place. And would Anurag or his parents please come up? And our first place winner for the 8th grade contest goes to Maggie Novick, also a student at Cody Redford's class in La Vista Middle School. Maggie's parents, Grant and Katie Novick, are here with us today. Maggie is the recipient of $175 for her first place finish. And would you please come up and accept your reward? And we have all three essays available to read on the poster near the registration table and on the OBA's website. So we would encourage each of you to go out and read those throughout the work week. So if you please just give a round of applause for all of our winners on the essay. So next up we have our public service awards, and Ambor is going to first start with the presentation for the Douglas County Law Library.
Thank you, Doug. Really quick, Dave said jokes are appreciated. Well, the jokes on Dave are not very funny. So, thank you for inviting me. The award for the Omaha Bar Association's Public Service Award is presented to a non-attorney individual or organization, and this year they've chosen to do both. They are giving the award honoring the Douglas County Law Library, as well as Lynn Morton, who is the librarian at the Douglas County Law Library. So the Douglas County Law Library, officially the Honorable Michael W. Amdor Memorial Law Library, is kind of a fitting award today also because Judge Amdor, when he was with us, was a big supporter of research, a big supporter of the library, and we were very thankful for having him there. So a little history, 1905 until 1911, Creighton Law shared the library arrangement with the Omaha Bar Association and the Douglas County Law Library. Then in 1911, they made a little change. The Douglas County Law Library was, by county board resolution, adopted as the Douglas County Law Library. Creighton broke off and did their own thing. And then in 1979, the library was established in the courthouse in some renovated space, open to the public, and has been in the courthouse since then. Then in 2002, the library moved to the new space they're at and was rededicated as the Michael W. Amdor Memorial Law Library. At that time, access to electronic resources were more fully developed, and it was made available to patrons and attorneys. So through those years of growth and change, the library has adapted to that transition to electronic research and resources, and to the changing way that attorneys did research and used that library. So those electronic resources were then made available to the patrons, and significant change was the makeup of those patrons, where we had increasingly more public seeking information about the law and the resources and educating themselves about the law and our justice system. So those changes in the library provided the judiciary and attorneys access to databases of information that were much larger than were ever available in print, the way the library started. So the law library and Miss Lynn Morton do represent the theme of Law Day today, which is toward a more perfect union, the Constitution of Times of Change. Is that correct, or is that from something else? By providing the public with relevant access to the law that governs a free society through these times of change. So the award highlights the library's work to enhance public knowledge of the law and the legal system. It provides service to the community for purposes other than pecuniary profit, and obviously a long-term commitment to the enhancement of the public's knowledge of the law over 100 years. So Lynn Morton is really the face of the library today, and she directs people where to find resources they're searching for in print and online. She answers questions about procedure. She helps patrons find their way around the complex. She brings a wealth of institutional knowledge about where to direct patrons for specific information, assistance with legal questions. She's truly deserving of the honor of the award. And it's important to note that the library and Lynn are only able to provide that access to the courts One of the hallmarks of our free society is that access with the full support and vision of the many partners who support that library. The Bar Association, the District Court and Court Administration, the Nebraska Judicial Branch, the Creighton Law Library, and many other collaborative partners. And finally, I do want to mention that the Douglas County and Douglas County Commissioners support that library. Just recently, they passed a resolution sponsored by Commissioner Kavanaugh, and that resolution talked about the library's dedication to serving the Constitution, providing access to the court throughout over 100 years of change, and that the county board and the commissioners are committed to looking forward to a continued renovation, technology advancements, and all of the things that will continue to uphold the Constitution for patrons for the next century. So it's a fitting award for the library and for Miss Lynn Morton for the public service provided every day educating patrons about the law. So I would like to congratulate Lynn and the Law Library and ask Lynn Morton, and if Commissioner Kavanaugh would come up and accept the award. Congratulations.
Can we move you guys out of the light? You got a blue face right now.
Thank you, everyone.
Our next presenter needs no introduction.
Sorry, I have to do camera work and this. Well, hello, everybody. I'm Dave Summers, Executive Director of the Omaha Bar Association. Thank you so much for being here today. For those of you who know me, I don't like to get up and talk at these things, so this is out of the ordinary. But when the Public Service Committee chose Steve and Scott for the Spire Award, I knew I had to get up and say some words. I'm not going to bust their chops too much, but I've worked with them for 10 years, and so I'm getting outside my comfort zone here, talking in front of you all. I should say, before we go any further, this is the event planning. Our ethics seminar is happening this year. It's online, 2 hours free CLE. We'll post it around June 2nd. I'll send you all an email. You'll get an email. It'll be on the website. It'll be there all year. Don't worry, your free ethics CLE is coming. Okay? All right. But one of the main reasons that we're giving this award to both Scott and Steve is because of the ethics seminar that has now been going on for 16 years. It's a 2-hour free ethics CLE for OBA members. It's one of the many combinations between Creighton Law School and Omaha Bar Association that go back to the founding of Creighton Law School. For those of you who don't know, we are housed in Creighton Law School. So Donna's email address is still a Creighton.edu email address. So we have a close connection with the university, and this is one of those connections. So Steve's batting leadoff like he does in the ethics seminar, right? He's always the first one up for the most part for the ethics seminar, so we're going to give him first crack here today. When I talked to Scott about Steve, it was all good. He said it's really tough to do that meat and potatoes first part of the ethics seminar. That's a tough ask, but Steve does a great job of presenting some really black letter law ethics for us every year. I talked to Pat Borchers, and we talked a bit about why he hired Steve. And he said, well, we were in a pinch. and we needed somebody quickly, so we signed him to a 1-year contract. But then he continued and he said, it turned out to be an excellent thing for the university because he is such a great teacher. And he said that extremely emphatically, great teacher. And I have to say, I've learned as well what a great teacher he's been over the years. Working with him on the ethics seminar, he always brings a level of curiosity and deep diving into ethics, which is saying a lot sometimes. And he brings us all along with him. So he's great at that. He's a very kind individual. I've gotten to know him on a personal level, but he's also a great writer. And that's one thing that really surprised me. Steve has 2 books out. He's got a 3rd one on the way. He is a phenomenal writer. So if you haven't, check out Steve Severson, the author. So with that, I just want to say we are so honored and proud for Steve Severson to be our 2022 Robert M. Spire Public Service Award recipient. And Steve, if you could come on up and say a few words.
Well, thanks, Dave. I don't think I deserve this award, but it looks really nice, so I'll take it. I just want to say 2 things, or 3 maybe. First of all, it's been a pleasure really working on these ethics seminars, and I owe so much to Dave and to Scott Paul, who I think do most of the work. I just kind of come along for the ride sometimes. The second thing I'd like to say is Creighton Law School, I know our dean is here, but I'm going to take it on myself to speak for Creighton Law School. We are so happy with the ongoing relationship that we have with the Omaha Bar Association. It's nice to see them in our building every day. It's nice to work with the Bar Association, and we think of that symbiotic relationship as being a real enhancement to what we are trying to do at Creighton Law School. The third thing is, when I heard that this session was going to get 1 hour of continuing legal education credit, I thought I probably should say something about the black letter of the ethics rules. So I'm going to mention 2 of the rules of ethics in particular, 1.6 and 1.7. Thank you.
Thank you, Steve. Our second Robert M. Spire Public Service Award recipient is Scott Paul, or J. Scott Paul, as I have called him over the years, before talking to him just recently and finding out that most people just call him Scott. So Scott is a former OBA president, and when I came into my role, about the 3rd day, I sat down with Donna Berkby and I said, all right, tell me about all the past presidents you've worked with. Give me the dirt. Tell me what's going on with them. And she went through the list and she got to Scott and her eyes widened a bit. And she said, very, very in a reverent tone, she said, he's an incredibly smart and kind person. Such a strategic thinker in adding that CLE. He's also very meticulous about the OBA budget. Scott, I don't know if there's higher praise than that from Donna. I can say without a doubt, Donna's assessment was spot on. In working with Scott over the past decade, I've been shown what it's like to be cool, calm, and collected all the time. I've also seen what it is to be working incredibly hard to keep something going and building it like the ethics seminar. I did some quick math, and I came to a number of 10,000 hours of ethics instruction that's been given over the 16 years of this seminar, and that's a pretty big number to say that we've been putting on 10,000 hours for local attorneys and judges. Not to rest on his laurels after becoming OBA president and doing this great ethics seminar, he took his talents to the NSBA, worked with Liz Neely on institutionalizing the Health Insurance Consortium and negotiating NSBA's ongoing lease with the NSBA Foundation building. Scott, as the fiduciary, again, always watching the budget and thinking strategically during his year as state bar president, and leaving the bar in a better state than it was when he started. That's Scott. It's been an honor to work with such a steadfast bar leader as Scott, and it's my pleasure to welcome up Scott Paul, the 2022 Robert M. Spire Public Service Award recipient.
I have just a few comments. First of all, they say brevity is the soul of wit, so I'm going to be brief. Also, please, I'm going to recognize a number of people in my remarks here. Please hold your applause until the end, because I don't want you clapping all the time. Your hands are going to be sore. First of all, my congratulations to the other award winners. It's well deserved. Glad to see that they're being recognized. I'd like to thank McGrath North, my law firm, for their support. At our table today is Mark Endenbach, Matt Monroe, Bob Mullen, Terry McNamara is here somewhere. So I appreciate them being here to support the cause. Two people that are on the team that you've met, I couldn't do this without, are Steve Severson and Dave Summers. I liken us to be the three-legged stool, and each one of us has a role to play. And like I said, I couldn't do it without them, so much appreciation to them. In the same token, much appreciation to Omaha Bar Association and Creighton University. When Dave interviewed me for this presentation, one of the things that he asked me about was, when we worked in the spaceship, and we used to do our seminar in the spaceship at Creighton Law School. And I refer to that as kind of the rinky-dink, not to demean the Creighton Law School or the spaceship at all, but we moved into the Harper Center, and when we moved into the Harper Center, it was a much nicer facility, and it really took us to another level. And I think we were averaging something around 350 people, lawyers, for our seminar when we're in the Harper Center, so it's a great deal. We've had a number of guest speakers that I'd like to thank as well. I won't list them all here, but just to give you some idea, we've had the Chief Justice of the 8th Circuit Court of Appeals, Bill Riley, spoke at our seminar. The Chief Justice of the Iowa Supreme Court, Mark Cady, God rest his soul, spoke twice in our seminar. And Mike Hebekin, Chief Justice of the Nebraska Supreme Court, has spoken at our seminar as well. I would be certainly remiss, though, if I didn't thank each of the attendees that attended our seminar. I mean, they're taking 2 hours out of their Friday afternoons in the month of April. Usually it's nice weather out to attend this seminar, and we really appreciate the support of the Bar Association that comes out. And we do this seminar for you. We're glad you like it. We hope you like it, and we hope we can do it a lot longer into the future. I would like to thank my 3 kids, Kyle, Bridget, and Sean, for being here. I appreciate that. And last but not least, I want to thank Mary Pat, my wife, for her love and support, her attendance at maybe 13 out of the 16 seminars. So she's not even a lawyer, and she goes to them. So it's truly an honor to have my name mentioned with Bob Spire, and I truly appreciate that. Nobody knows better than me what a man of integrity he was. He was former OBA president, former state bar president, former attorney general, former CPA, musician, just a true Renaissance man. And to have my name associated with Bob Spire is a true honor. So thank you very much.
Well, I made it up without falling on my purse, so good news. Good afternoon. I am so happy to see all of you in person. It's been a really long time. My name is Jennifer Peterson, and I served as OBA president in 2012 and 2013. In late 2020, we lost one of our very best, a trailblazer, a leader, a mentor, and a friend, Judge Lori Smith-Camp. I'm sure that most of the attorneys in this room have their own personal stories about meeting Judge Smith-Camp. She made a point to meaningfully connect with as many attorneys as possible, young and old. Judge Smith-Camp's impact on the local legal community cannot be overstated. Her leadership, grace, judicial philosophy have carved out a legacy that will never be forgotten. In 2021, in consultation with her children, Jonathan and Abby, the Omaha Bar Association created the Lori Smith-Camp Integrity and Service Award to be presented annually at our Law Day lunch. For those who remember, Judge Smith-Camp was a strong supporter of Law Day, rarely, if ever, missing the lunch, and she was a keynote speaker of the event in 2008. Through this award, we hope to recognize those who, like Judge Smith-Camp, have left their mark on the world in such a positive and meaningful way. The award criteria are listed as for outstanding contribution above and beyond the call of duty related to advancing diversity and inclusion, improving access to justice, providing pro bono service, mentoring to others, advancing innovation in the legal profession, and/or serving and representing the legal community. The 2021 recipient of the award was Judy Gosh-Kibosh, Executive Director of the Nebraska Commission on Indian Affairs, and I highly recommend, if you haven't done so already, to watch Judy's interview and acceptance remarks from last year's virtual day lunch. I am humbled and honored to introduce the 2022 Lori Smith-Camp Integrity and Service Award recipient, Deborah R. Gelic. Just a second. But there's more. There's more. I need to tell you a little bit about Deb before we get to honor her. So we have more. Deb was born and raised in Omaha, and she is a graduate of the University of Nebraska College of Law, where she was a classmate of Judge Smith-Camp. She practiced law in Western Nebraska for 25 years and served 16 years as a county attorney for Keith County and many appointments as a special county attorney or special prosecutor in over a dozen other counties in Nebraska. Returning to Omaha, Deb went into private practice with Monica Kruger and Ann Troya, but the prosecution appointments continued. In 2009, Deb was appointed by President Obama to serve as a U.S. Attorney for the District of Nebraska and was confirmed by the Senate. Upon her investiture, Deb became the first woman to serve as a U.S. Attorney for the District of Nebraska. She served as a U.S. Attorney until 2017. Since then, as those who know you, Deb has stayed extremely busy. She teaches trial advocacy at the Arizona State University Sandra Day O'Connor College of Law, is the founder of Fearless, Fierce, and Forward, a company that helps provide women empowerment training in the areas of gender pay parity, negotiation skills, and professional development. Deb is a past OBA Executive Council member, a former speaker at our annual Law Day lunch. She's a current National Association of Former United States Attorneys, a neutral arbitrator for FINRA. Something that may not be so surprising to those of you who know her is that Deb has received a number of public service awards, including awards from the University of Nebraska College of Law, the Nebraska State Bar Association, the Nebraska Association of County Officials, and the Nebraska State Patrol. In selecting Deb Gelic for this award, we've not only found someone who meets the criteria bearing the name of Lori Smith-Camp, but also someone who was considered to be a close friend. Please join me in congratulating Deborah R. Gelic in receiving the Lori Smith-Camp Integrity and Service Award.
say your words.
Good afternoon, everybody. But that I wish I looked like that anymore. The pandemic has not been kind to me, so I kind of consider myself the pandemic panda. I would also say I am also happy that we are not doing bald jokes because were I as a speaker to do a bald joke, I'm afraid that there's too many defense counsel out there when I was a prosecutor that would love to come up and give me a slap. So I'm really glad we're not doing that. I want to thank the Omaha Bar Association for giving me this award. I want to point out some people that have been pivotal in my life, and they're sitting at my table. First and foremost, my husband of 46 years, Dan Gelic, who was also a law school classmate of Lori Smith Camp. Dan. Also, my partner in crime at times, but most of all my consigliere, Attorney Judy Schweikert, also at my table. Laura Garcia-Hine, many of you know Laura Garcia-Hine. She is the federal court interpreter. She's also an attorney, and she is La Costa Riqueña. So thank you for coming. And she was very dear to Lori. My former law partners, Monica Kruger and Ann Troyer, sitting at my table. My non-lawyer friends that braved coming out to this group with all the lawyers, but because of Lori, I met Sella Quinn. And Sella Quinn is a dear friend. She's sitting at my table in, this surprises no one who knows Sella, but she's in the nice green outfit, very bright and stands out. Through Sella, I met Linda Burt, who is a friend of mine, and Linda's at my table. Linda, some of you may know, is a CPA, and she's the former CFO at Methodist Health Systems. So thanks for coming. I have saved the group for last. Some of you in this room may know that Lori and a group of us formed a wine and cheese group, and we called it the WHINE and cheese group. And everything was sacrosanct. We would meet probably about every other month at Mark's and have a little wine and cheese. At any rate, I am so proud that the group is here today. So I'd like to recognize them because they were all part of Lori's life. And so thank you so much, Judge Lamberty, Judge Gilbride, and former bankruptcy trustee Trish Fahey. So thanks, my friends, for coming. Lori was my classmate. Lori was my friend. In the most recent years, Lori was my federal judge. But most of all, Lori was a kind person, a giving person, and a role model for each and every one of us. There isn't a day that goes by that I don't think of her. And I got to be careful here because when Dave Summers called to tell me I was getting this award, he may not know that. And most people who know me think I'm pretty tough, but I started crying because for me, getting this award is like getting a hug from Lori. So I thank each and every one of you, and I still can't believe she's gone. So she is so missed and so loved. Thank you so much.
Congratulations, Deb. Good afternoon. As a longtime member of the Lawyer Referral Service Committee and a lawyer who has had the great privilege of learning from and working with Alfred Gelic at the Gelic Jones Law Firm, it is my greatest honor to announce the 2022 recipients of the Alfred G. Gelic Lawyer Referral Service Award. The award is presently annually awarded to those attorneys who have been members of the OBA's Lawyer Referral Service for 10 or more years. The award was first presented in 2015, and at that time it was presented to 113 attorneys. That large number is a testament to the strong support the OBA Lawyer Referral Service receives from the members. The award is named in honor of Alfred Gelic, who in 1962, during the year of his presidency of the OBA, established the OBA Lawyer Referral Service. 60 years later, the LRS continues to be a cornerstone of the Omaha Bar Association's commitment to public service to the attorneys and by attorneys of the OBA. I am pleased to say that Sean Conway, Mallory Hughes, and Steve Ranum, who are receiving the award today, have shown a dedication and commitment to the Lawyer Referral Service for 10 years. The Omaha Bar Association is grateful for their long-standing association with the service. At this time, I ask Sean Conway, Mallory Hughes, and Steve Ranum, the 2022 recipients of the Alfred Gelic Lawyer Referral Service Award, to come to this area in front of the stage to receive their awards. And please join me in congratulating Sean, Mallory, and Steve on their accomplishments.
All right, we're up to the point now where we're going to introduce our featured speaker for Law Day today. And just a quick personal story that's relevant to this. My first job out of law school, I went to work for the Federal Energy Regulatory Commission in Washington, D.C. as a cub lawyer in an advisory group. And at that time, FERC was in a transition of policy, so every order that FERC issued was getting appealed to the D.C. Circuit Court of Appeals. And it got to a point where it was so overwhelming for the solicitor's office, they came back to the advisory lawyers and said, hey, how would you like to write a brief for the DC Circuit? And if, depending on which panel you get, maybe you get to go do oral arguments. So, we're all in. This is great. So I'm getting advice from the solicitor on how, is there any point of this order that you want me to emphasize or de-emphasize? And the solicitor said, well, one point of advice, write it as though you're writing for an 8th grader, because if an 8th grader can read it, so can the judge from the DC Circuit. So with that, we thought, okay, let's, usually we have a seasoned lawyer, talking about the relevant point of law for Law Day each year. And this year we thought, well, let's go a little different direction. And as you know, each year we send out, the Law Day theme to our 8th grade classes to write an essay, and then, we'll give them an award here at Law Day. And so this year we thought, well, what would it be like to actually get into the mind of an 8th grader from somebody who has to administer those? And our featured speaker today is Rebecca Begley, and she has consistently won, and her students have won this essay throughout the years for the Omaha Bar Association. So we invited Rebecca to come speak to us today. And of course, one of her students wins 2nd place in the essay this year, so congratulations on that. And so we invite you to take a journey with us back into the 8th grade classroom and look through the law at the eyes of an 8th grader. At this point, would you help me welcome Ms. Begley to the podium?
Thank you. I appreciate this opportunity today for 2 reasons. First, to express my gratitude to the audience before me. Without you and the work you do, it would be impossible to teach students the importance of the laws that guide our country. Secondly, to share how as teachers we show our students the importance of your work and their own role in continuing a democratic society that functions because of our country's adherence to the rule of law. While some of you in this audience couldn't wait to get out of middle school or junior high back in the day, my experience was such that I decided to spend my entire professional life with 13 and 14-year-olds. I have spent the last 26 years in middle school, willingly. During the past 10 years, I have had the privilege of teaching 8th grade students American history. In the course of a school year, it is my responsibility to impart American history from European exploration in the Americas through the period of Reconstruction following the Civil War. History, economics, geography, and civics are all components of our required state standards. It would seem an overwhelming and daunting task, except it is so much fun. If you haven't spent time with a 14-year-old lately, I encourage you to do so. They are quirky, fun, smart, caring individuals with just the right amount of snark to make you laugh every day you're with them. While I was initially surprised by Mr. Summers' request to have me speak to you and questioned what message I, as a school teacher, could share with you, a group of lawyers and judges, regarding the law, ultimately I decided that when an educator has the opportunity to speak to any group outside our profession, we have to take it and show what we do on a daily basis. And while the prospect of addressing this group at first seemed a hard pass, I've also spoken to groups of teachers. And let me tell you, however this speech goes, you are bound to be a better listening audience than a group of educators. When we are with fellow teachers, we are truly a group of do as I say, but not as I do when it comes to listening to a speaker. As I considered how to approach the theme of this year's Law Day, Toward a More Perfect Union, the Constitution in Times of Change, I reflected on the importance of students understanding the significance of their role in our government and society, how the students of today are tomorrow's leaders, and how this next generation will carry on the work that you do. While what you do on a daily basis to ensure the rule of law within our country is vitally important, the reality is without the next generation being willing to work to preserve our democracy, it will be difficult to keep. But you can't keep a democracy if you don't know what it is. Understanding that we as Americans have a role in the rule of law and the continuation of our nation is an important part of our history class, following the state standards regarding history and civics instruction. Knowing that not all Americans hold a shared understanding and appreciation of our government and the laws that govern us, I take my role in the classroom seriously. I'm sure everyone here today has experienced some level of dismay when we realize not every American has a basic foundation of the laws that govern our society. Before Jimmy Fallon, if you ever watched The Tonight Show with Jay Leno, you may have wanted to just shut off the TV and go to bed if you watched the jaywalking segment, during which time Jay asked random people on the street questions that one should presumably and easily know. Often, questions were asked about our government. For example, Jay asked, "How many U.S. senators are there?" only to have the response be 52, because there are 52 states. Yikes. Another response to that question was, "Too many." While we may or may not find humor in that answer, it's difficult to find humor in the fact that countless people have been asked, what are the 3 branches of government? Who is the vice president? Or what rights are guaranteed under the First Amendment? Only to look dumbfounded as they mentally search for an answer and ultimately have no response. While we may laugh, it just isn't funny. Knowing that a significant number of Americans struggle with basic knowledge of the foundation of our government and the laws we live by, I want to ensure that my students have a solid understanding. As Americans, we are offered many opportunities, and the rule of law in our country establishes many of those rights. To keep our country and Constitution moving toward that more perfect union, we need to help this next generation of citizens, who may or may not choose to join your ranks within the field of law, to see beyond this document and to understand their rights and responsibilities within the law and actively work to advance a society that depends on the rule of law. When students come to my classroom, they arrive with a variety of abilities, interests, and backgrounds. Unfortunately, some of that includes an understanding of our government from watching TV shows, movies, and TikTok videos. When we begin our lessons on the framework of our government and the Constitution, I often feel that I should enter the classroom to the tune of the cadence of the Law and Order theme song, for that is where far too much of my students' knowledge comes from regarding the law. At the same time, I have students arrive almost ready for college classes. So how does one teach students with varying abilities, background knowledge, and interest levels? It's all about that last one, whether or not they are interested. My job is not merely to teach students the framework of our government and the foundation of American law. It's to make them realize how important it is to know it and help them see the connections to their own lives and society as a whole. While we as adults may have difficulty fathoming why wouldn't they want to know this, keep in mind they are 14 and may be far more interested in the latest trends on TikTok rather than the rule of law. So I thought I would share with you how I attempt to catch their attention and see the relevance of the rule of law as we progress through our understanding of the United States government and Constitution. Approaching history throughout the year cannot be a list of chronological events and dates. Students aren't able to see the relevance of history unless they consider what is history. Using the model by the Stanford History Education Group, we consider the following when looking for and comparing historical evidence. History is an account of the past. Accounts differ depending on one's perspective. We rely on evidence to construct accounts of the past. We must question the reliability of each piece of evidence, and any single piece of evidence is insufficient to build a plausible account. Following this model, students are better able to formulate their own response and reaction to historical events rather than simply listing them. By creating stronger critical thinkers, we are creating the next generation of Americans, ready to look at the information in front of them and to understand why it happened and how it impacts society, both when it took place and today. While this may sound like an easy task, igniting a fire of student interest in American government and law isn't easy. Throughout my years of teaching, I have needed to hone my teacher skills and, quite frankly, tricks to help students get excited about our lessons. My teacher attempt to land somewhere between Miss Frizzle leading her children on adventures while traveling on the Magic School Bus and Ben Stein's teacher character from Ferris Bueller's Day Off puts me somewhere in the middle of the continuum of can't stop listening to this teacher and would this teacher please stop talking. Accessing primary sources to compare and gather historical evidence to better understand and evaluate history is critical. However, the basic foundation of our government, which allows us to understand the importance of the rule of law, is knowing how our government functions. If students don't understand the three branches of government and how checks and balances work, it's difficult to move forward to grasp the laws stemming from our American government. In order to discern the differences between the three branches, we study and take assessments, but we also play games. Who wouldn't want to use a fly swatter to signify which branch of government is being described? Or ring a bell to win a prize to quickly answer questions to review the amendments to the Constitution? One of my favorites is an electoral college game during which students use dice to determine the number of votes they receive in order to secure the electoral college votes in each state. One year, my class was extra exuberant about securing 270 votes first. It sounded like casino night in my classroom. It was to the point where the teachers that had classrooms on both sides of me came to complain about the noise. While I was apologetic about the noise and the chaos to my colleagues, my students were incredulous that they would stop our pseudo-electoral college in action by telling the other teachers, "Come on, I just won Florida. Wait till you hear what it sounds like when we get to California." I can almost guarantee that this group of students knew more about how a president is elected in our country than a lot of Americans. In response, one of my coworkers just shook his head and said, "If you can get them excited about the Electoral College, then who am I to complain about the noise?" While those activities are high energy and can quickly raise the volume in our classroom, my favorite activity is one entitled You Be the Judge, during which students are provided with information from famous court cases in order to determine whether or not they believe they had a right within a court of law. They have to support why they feel this person does or does not have a right given the circumstances and defend their reasoning. Students using their knowledge of the Bill of Rights to prove their point demonstrates their ability to think critically about the law. When they hear the actual verdict, they often feel justified in their answer or curious about the reasoning behind the ruling. My goal as a teacher is that the critical thinking skills they use, as well as the fun and games that students participate in my classroom, eventually evolves into them realizing the importance of participating in our government and society, to really demonstrate the rule of law and the Constitution in their daily lives. While our class participates in service learning opportunities throughout the school year to make a difference within our community, when I see students taking an interest in civic opportunities and organizations outside of school, I know that they really understand their responsibilities as American citizens as they work to improve the lives of others. From participating in a women's march, to volunteering as Salvation Army bell ringers, to traveling across the world to join in mission work to make a difference, my students understand that civics instruction does not end in our classroom. It is their responsibility to work together to build a stronger community. Teaching the Constitution this year provided a new level of interest for me and my ability to bring relevant court cases in my classroom. Currently, I'm pursuing a second master's degree in educational leadership in order to eventually work as a principal. This fall, one of my grad classes included school law. To be able to share the cases I was studying with my students and their relevance to my role as a teacher and a hopeful administrator further validated the importance of having an understanding of the law as you'll be using it throughout your life for both personal and professional reasons. I thank you for listening today. Like I assured you at the start of my speech, you were a much better audience than my colleagues. As I leave you today, I will share my passion for teaching the United States Constitution and the rule of law is best summed up by one of our greatest American presidents, Abraham Lincoln, who said, "Let reverence for the laws be breathed by every American mother to the lisping babe that prattles on her lap. Let it be taught in schools, in seminaries, and in colleges. Let it be written in primers, spelling books, and almanacs. Let it be preached from the pulpit, proclaimed in the legislative halls, and enforced in the courts of justice." Thank you.
Wow, that was amazing. How about another round of applause for our speakers, our award winners, our contest winners, and our committee members. Please don't forget that this lunch has been approved for 1 hour of CLE, so make sure you've signed in. Your code is in the back of the program today. Our next large event for OBA will be the memorial service on May 20th at 11:30 a.m. in the Legislative Chamber. And then June 2nd, we'll be doing a riverboat cruise on the River City Star for anyone who may be interested. And with that, we are officially adjourned. Thank you all for attending, and happy Law Day 2022.